Well, I've been drinking coffee since 6:30 this morning. Went and saw the Red Hot Chili Peppers. We have this cool show down in Bridgeport where they call it the Sound on Sound. It's like 2-day music festival. All these Coachella-looking folks strutting around.
Yeah.
Got your cool sunglasses.
That's the amphitheater that they built where the baseball stadium was?
Well, it's down the street. So they got the amphitheater. That's Hartford Arena. And then you go down the street and they set up this giant soundstage right in front of the... Right. You got to walk through downtown Bridgeport unarmed.
Yeah.
Hope it goes okay. And then you go to the show. And God, there were like 50,000 people there. It was crazy.
That baseball stadium, my first year up here, we had a summer party there.
That's right.
That was a hell of an introduction.
I use still today when I do like my introduction slides. I always try to put a little humor into self-deprecation, make yourself more approachable.
Little humor for you.
That's right. And I was in the pie eating contest.
Oh yeah.
If you remember that. And like, there's a good story here as we're getting started. Like, well, hey, welcome back to the podcast. Whatever. Unapologetic Security. We got some teammates here. We'll introduce them in a second too.
Like and subscribe.
I got to tell a story. So it was your first year.
Yeah.
I got conscripted by, I think, one of the secretaries or something came by. One of the admins.
Tina and Serg.
It's like, you, Kennedy, have to be in the pie eating contest. And so me being the naive person that I was, trying to make friends, trying to socially navigate a very difficult place, like, fine, I'll absolutely do that. Get in there. Missy, like... Thank God to her, gets me prepared and gets me one of those Beastie Boys painter suits,
yeah.
Like the white suit. And then she goes, like, we're big Simpsons fans. Always any opportunity to use a Simpsons quote, as Greg knows. The internet, is that thing still around?
Yep.
There's an episode where he's in a pie eating contest. He's Pie Man. And so she gets a picture, and it's like, he's like a Superman character, and he's got like a big piece of pie with a lightning bolt on his chest. So she prints that shit out. I put it on my uniform. I got it tied on, and we show up as Pie Man. I want you to know, first, I competed exceptionally well. In fact, I think I should, everyone says I should have won, but I was done, and I'm not sure why I wasn't awarded, and I was like confused. My strategy was very unique.
Crumbs in the beard.
I put about a third of that pie into the beard.
Yeah.
Like you put your face in there, and you just rub it around, and that there went a lot of it. And then the rest that I had to eat. And so when I was done, I wasn't quite sure why. I think you're supposed to flip it over and like eat the crumbs off the table or something. And somebody had done that. And so that's the person that won. But it was the post facto event that was the thing. So first I was mad I didn't win. Then I went into the bathroom and threw up. And when I threw up, because of whatever had happened, I popped a blood vessel in my eyeball. So it looked like I'd been scuba diving and like had this bruise, so it looked like I got mugged in the bathroom, knocked my eye knocked out. So I gave a lot for that competition at that particular event. Let's be clear. And I still use the picture as the run up to it. I should dig it up and we'll insert it in of like Chris Kennedy Pie Man.
Yeah. My first day in the security department in 20W, I came in and I was voluntold into the hot dog eating qualification for who the security department was going to put up, and Richard was like, "Oh yeah, come on, like
J-Lord's fat. He's got to be good at this."
I wasn't fat then.
Oh yeah, well you're big.
Yeah, exactly. He's 6'3". He can eat hot dogs. And I remember I ate like 8, and I was like, I am going to die. Like, this is horrible. I have no idea how people eat 60 of them.
Yeah. Especially skinny little guys that look like me.
Joey Chestnut. Right?
Joey. Who was the guy that worked in IT who showed up and he knew he wasn't going to win, so he turned it into a whole pomp and circumstance event. He showed up. He lit candles in the front.
I don't remember.
He ran recruiting in IT. He's gonna be mad if he was a listener and I can't remember his name right now.
T-Rob?
No, not he didn't run recruiting. He's buddies with Wyndham still. Good to see you. Been a while.
Good to see you.
So we did so much content before. We had to let that permeate.
I know. We live like 8 miles away from each other.
I know. Well, back to work and all that kind of stuff for those that are doing it.
Yeah.
So. Sore topics. Right?
I mean,
enjoy the time.
Exactly.
Like, I hate you right now. What are you talking about?
Like, this is my favorite time of the year, especially being here in ye olde Connecticut.
Yeah.
Weather's changed. Stopped raining every single day for 36 hours now.
Yeah.
So it seems great. Bears in the trash cans, all
Dude,
that shit.
I wanted to kill myself last 2 weeks. Yeah, like I've seen the sun. I'm like, you're lucky. And it's for our listeners, maybe those that want to see this, most of you probably don't. Like, I feel like Vladimir Putin on the horse. Like, I came down here without my shirt on, without my shoes on. The sun's out. Like, I'm trying to get some vitamin D while we can. The older I get in these Connecticut winters and whatnot, like, I need a little sun every once in a while. So go 14 days. The sun's been out twice.
Yeah.
It's like mind blowing. I just put a expensive solar plant on my house, and I was showing people at the festival, people that we were there with. I was like, I made 0.1 kilowatts day before yesterday because it was so dark. It's like living in Iceland in the winter, where we didn't even get an hour of sunlight. It's crazy. Yeah. Enough of grousing about that. USP show. We've got some help in the house too. So like big ups to Greg. Thanks for producing. We got Andrew Sinclair, protege of Greg, helping make sure the show works. I don't know if we got a camera on him or not, but thanks for that. Oh, see, look what we do here. We're so ill prepared, keeping it moving. So anyway, so I was at the show.
Thank you, Andrew.
Good to have you on the show. Like, look, we're growing already. This is awesome. We got people contributing. Super cool. So I'm at the show, kind of like here's my feedback. We're gonna talk a little bit about music this week too.
Okay.
Like we had a lot of feedback on the Oliver Anthony thing. It's kind of fun. But Red Hot Chili Peppers were like the closer. Oh, so boring, man. I love those guys. I think they're old. They played all like the Stadium Arcadium and the Him in the Night.
Yeah.
I wanted Higher Ground, man. I wanted Suck My Kiss. I wanted that kind of stuff, and it just wasn't happening. Nathaniel Radcliffe was awesome. And those that know, I run a mean Nathaniel Radcliffe SOB karaoke.
Yeah.
In fact, I was like, I think I should get on stage.
Do you have your karaoke accolades on your resume? Because it is one of the best parts about you.
It really is. It really is. Like people don't know until I, get into the organization and the opportunity strikes.
Yeah. We did karaoke at a corporate event at the holiday party
in a kilt.
In a kilt in a aquarium.
Yeah,
that was great. It was a little Billy Idol action.
That's right. That's
scaring the fish. Yeah,
believe it or not, like
sharks love it.
You're gonna. they were digging it, right? Calming the sharks.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I was in the Adirondacks with the family a couple weeks ago, and we found this little. It was actually the only nice restaurant in town. And it was happened to be Wednesday night karaoke night. And so me and Miss are like, hell yeah, we're going to get in there. Kids, we're going to embarrass them. And we took them home and then came back and stayed for the show. And I've got a new jam. If you know Tyler Childers, Tyler Childers wrote a song with this band called Town Mountain from West Virginia. And they're kind of a bluegrass band. And it's called Down Low. I play it all the time. So I, on a whim, found a YouTube video, sent it to the guys, and just had the words, and tried that out. And it was a stunner. Place had just shut down. I've never, I'm a yeller, my singing style. It's like rap, and it's like yelling. And it's not good, but it's entertaining. This was good. People were like, that was great. So I got to find a way to work that into the repertoire, find a place that will let me do that, see how that's going to go.
Yeah.
Anything I can do to expose people to good bluegrass, which will be a topic we'll talk about today.
Yeah.
What else has been going on?
Not much. I mean, the security industry is flutter. Some big topics. iOS patch. What else we have?
We can't get into work yet.
Oh, okay.
We got to talk about first, where's they found the airplane. Like, what happened with the airplane? Yeah. Where's the F-35? What happened?
The Marine Corps lost F-35 fighter jet, under $135 million aircraft.
So how do you lose a stealth aircraft? Was it just hidden? Is it like camouflage? Like walk into the woods or something?
I guess pretty easy is the answer.
Greg, you want to show the video that you sent? Like, I thought it was pretty funny telling of where it went.
Yeah, we'll put it on.
All right, let's put it on.
Did you hear they found the missing F-35 fighter jet?
What? Did they show the crash or show pictures of the jet? No proof that they have found their lost jet. Follow me.
The newest addition to the arsenal.
Yeah.
Well, I have a history lesson for you. I know where the plane would actually happen.
Where what happened?
Well, first off, like, have you seen the video will actually tell the story a little bit here, but like, did you see it?
No.
Did it crash?
Yeah.
Did you see crash remains?
Yeah.
Right. Did you see
Where's the debris field?
burning? Did you see burning debris field in the news? Right. So where's the plane? Well, there's a 40-year-old story that actually explained exactly where that plane was. Did you know that?
Documentary or?
It's a legit documentary from an esteemed historian named Clint Eastwood.
Oh yeah.
Do you know this? Do you know what I'm talking about yet?
Firefox?
Do you know what this? You know you read the book.
Yeah, I've read the book. This is my aunts had all these leftover books at my grandparents' house from the 70s.
Yeah.
So every summer was reading all of these good and very bad 70s paperback books.
Well,
but yeah.
Well, like we have to show our listeners.
We have to
like,
watch the movie.
They made a movie about it in 1982, which is testament to how old we are that we know what the hell this is, and no one knows what it is. So let's do that real quick. Do we got a camera on this?
Yep.
All right. All right. So we've got some new kit. We're going to run the regular TV so we can watch movies. This is a theatrical trailer for a movie from 1982 that tells you exactly what happened with the jet. By the way, it's baller.
Look at this video quality.
Right. That tells you alone that it was 1980s.
Can we do the rest of the show in this?
Hell yeah. Listen.
The plane, Firefox, the most devastating killing machine ever built.
The weapon system is one of the most advanced ever conceived, with a thought-guided, thought-controlled...
Thought-controlled
AI.
...for the plane. If the Soviets
1982.
use it, it will change the structure of our world.
It'll change warfare forever.
Rachel Garrett, the most daring U.S. fighter pilot ever to fly a plane.
Froze on this last one.
One of you think I have a chance?
Clint Eastwood. If you don't love Clint Eastwood, you can't like or subscribe.
Yeah.
Don't say anything. This flight is their own plane.
If you hadn't figured it out yet, the Russians built an advanced warfare aircraft, and we sent the American spy in to steal it.
MiG-35.
Firefox.
So did the Russians take the plane? We wrote this movie in 1982, and it took them 40 years away to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
Great Mother of God, he's on!
I'm speaking to the individual who has stolen the property of the USS.
Can't shoot it down itself.
Look at
You will not, of course, make it to wherever you are going.
He doesn't know where he's going.
doesn't have to.
Yeah.
He's coming straight in.
Whoa.
It is on the sitting deck.
The other one, they had two of them. Cosmonaut.
We have done it. We have brought down the American.
Well, that's it. Might as well all go home.
Well, might as well go home.
No, we don't know.
Give up mentality. He's gonna pull out. It's Clint. Clint always pulls out. Left turn, Clyde.
Clint Eastwood in one of the most incredible undercover operations in history. Firefox.
There it is. No Stuxnet.
None.
None of that bullshit. We're stealing airplanes.
Yeah.
That's where it went. Are you a believer?
100%.
Where's the evidence? Like, where'd that plane go? The Russians have it. And now it's going to change warfare forever. Change the world.
Maybe the Air Force stole it from the Marines.
Maybe.
Who knows? Maybe a Marine defected?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
the Air Force?
Could be so the hunt for Red October theory.
Yeah.
Like the Russians didn't actually steal it, that somebody defected to the Air Force or
Yeah.
to Russia. That's an interesting idea.
Air Force seems scared
You won't
out
let me
there.
put the picture up, but I'll, those that have seen it, like, I guess we can say it.
If you know, you know. Let's move on.
If you know, he keeps cutting it. It's pseudo political. Bruh. Well, that was fun.
Yeah, don't make me censor you.
Yeah, like it was somebody. There you go.
Bruh.
We're gonna have a good show today. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
All right, so serious business. What have you been working on? What have you been watching? What have you been seeing? I got some perspective for you too.
Well, it appears as though the same hacks that worked 50 years ago on computer systems and the human beings behind them still work extremely well today.
Didn't we talk about that?
Well, we talked about phishing as like one of the lower common denominators, but in recent weeks, a hacking organization, Scattered Spiders, took credit for hacking several casinos and taking one of them down for 10 days, I believe, all based on phishing. Social engineering at its best.
Yeah.
Calling in to the help desk, getting access, downloading malware, CryptoLocker, and pay ransom.
Yeah. How about that?
Like, why spend time trying to hack in? Why try circumventing technical controls?
Do you think the organization had a modest, a reasonable investment in security technologies and capabilities?
Oh, I don't want to point out a single organization. However, you know, you have to imagine like the size of the entities that were hit by this wave are significant corporations. So, you know, I'm sure they're investing in every aspect of their security.
Highly profitable organizations that are spending substantially in their security endeavors. They got a lot to lose, likely. Like, I don't know. Like, I haven't been behind the walls of the casinos, but I know people that have, and you know, they're pretty advanced. You know, they certainly spend in the insider threat space, especially in the monitoring and surveillance capabilities for cheating, and I mean that is their business, right?
Absolutely.
And so you would expect that would also parallel into the cyber domain, so protect the systems not from cheaters but also from outsiders, and they're often concretely connected systems. They're often the same technology that they use for that in terms of behavioral analytics and things like that. So it's surprising. It's always surprising to me when big, sophisticated, security thoughtful organizations have that level of successful attack.
It literally takes one, right?
Right.
One new user, one junior person that has access, and a lack of strong auth or identity throughout.
But there it is. I mean, like now you're starting to unpack the thing, right? For me, I always think about things in the kill chain.
Sure.
And so how many layers are there in, you know, when you think about the conceptual documented level of the kill chains? What, 8 stages?
Yeah.
Right? And every one of those have to fail for attacker action on target. So we knew there's reconnaissance. They knew they were targets, of course. I wonder how good of that they were. Through initial access, through breach, exploitation, like now you're talking about the activities of the user in the account takeover event that allowed them to assume the role of a service desk person. But it's mind blowing to me. They wouldn't have stepped back and thought about, especially again, this isn't the first time that the service desk has been implicated in a breach activity.
Yeah. So I'm not yelling at you here, but like when you say that you're surprised by something like that, it's very disheartening. Like you, me, anyone who's been in this industry for a month, as long as we have, like, should never be surprised by shit like this. This is literally the easiest, most basic way. Take advantage of the human being that is able to do this thing.
Yeah.
And so there was Greg and I were watching Jen Easterly on CBS. And the first thing that she opens up with her CISA talk is that this is the 20th anniversary of the Cyber Awareness Month.
Right.
Right. We talked a couple episodes back with Carl about, his
CISA's role.
Going to Black Hat 20 plus years later.
Yeah.
And the comment that we made is nothing has changed. Like everything's changed. Technology's gotten so much better, but the basic underpinnings, the same vulnerable and threat basics are still there. And this is a perfect example of this. Like you go back to the 60s and 70s with ATT labs of, dumpster diving. And it's in the beginning of every cybersecurity book that's out there of, Captain Crunch, all these very basic ways of how hacking began. So this org, they're not spending millions of dollars. They're not, hiring people that are going, 24-hour shifts to try to hack into some major corporation, right? They're hitting it at the most basic level. 30 minutes on the phone with someone, and they get root.
It's like your service desk's empowered to give root. Like, these are the things that are mind blowing to me, right? Like, first off, I think about, like, how does service desk operations take place? What access and privileges they have? How do they verify authenticity of the end user? Like, these, you're right. This is basic blocking and tackling. But like, I remember, let's step through the kill chain here, right? They knew they were targeted by attacker groups because they've got money. Okay, sure. So that causes them to spend money on security. Great. So they do lots of good things, and they probably have good connective tissue between their business model and like monitoring for cheaters and cyber awareness and preparation and whatnot. And this isn't the first time that these kinds of businesses have been targeted by these kinds of attacks, right? So this isn't new, right? Okay, so they got all that. This guy gets a service desk account through social engineering. Okay, so what are the steps in the kill chain? We're talking about employee verification. We're talking about stemming social engineering and stemming access for appropriate privilege for the kind of thing that needed to happen. So maybe they had an insider helping. They're like, you need elevated privilege. Great. This is an advanced organization. It should be able to use, or first should have some form of structural IAM policies that allow minimization of policy of least privilege or applied policy of least privilege. Right? Why does that service desk guy need domain admin to do the thing? And this is a problem that I see systematically in less mature organizations. Then that person does get admin and starts deploying rogue software. Like, where are the endpoint controls to prevent rogue software deployment? Where's the software deployment pipeline that keeps inappropriate software from even entering the environment? Service desk's empowered to provide that, but there should be a pipeline. The service desk should be able to go get and get any software they want anytime they want. That's mind-blowing. Software is deployed. Let's say, what was it, CryptoLocker?
Yeah.
So, like, now you got ransomware running through the environment. Where's the segmentation strategy? Where's the quick incident response? How was it not constrained in such a way? Like, I don't get it. I get it. I do get it. Basics, man. But this is use case one of how you get hacked.
Exactly. And if someone said, hey, we're going to tabletop this, any executive, any senior cybersecurity person who's we are not going to tabletop a phishing exercise. Right. Like, that is so far beneath us. Right. We're spending millions of dollars on, Palo Alto licensing and threat intel feeds and, IR retainers.
Yeah.
But they're not spending it on user training. I can guarantee you that.
They're also like not spending it on real tests, as in like, if this is the number one approach, let's go get a third party to come in and like work as give them that role and see how far they can carry that weight.
Yeah. Hey, Bishop Fox, can you?
Hey, what's up, Benny?
Can you simulate a phishing exercise and own my corporate environment?
Can you start with like a spear or a phishing, not even like a phishing exercise? Can you attempt to socially engineer my service desk as a test to determine if they're actually providing employee verification properly?
Sure. And then
I can do that.
Back to your reconnaissance point, right? Now any good cyber ops team is going to be able to see like that external recon happening if you're scanning a network, right?
Sure.
Is anyone looking at that? Like, someone could have called 17 times pretending and trying to figure out more and more information, who to escalate to, whatever.
Right.
And then, but like,
you do it. Like, you don't get the right answer you want from Amazon, and under the return, you call them back and call somebody else, right?
Yeah. Hi, Xfinity.
Right. I want a rate reduction. Right?
Yeah,
totally. So that's always going to happen. So I mean, it's kind of shitty for us to sit here and armchair quarterback an organization that's delicately dealing with a very bad situation for their business.
I mean, I don't know. That's what I get paid to do now. Armchair quarterback.
True. Yeah, that's right. We can totally do that. But like, as a practitioner, moving these mountains, like, let's talk about the other side. Like, what were they likely dealing with? Well, man, like, we've outsourced our service desk. They've like operationalized all the process. It's a heavy contract to move. The lawyers, are kind of dug in on what it means to renegotiate. That's a problem. We're a little concerned about insourcing because we don't think we can constrain the cost to it in a meaningful way. So these are our people. This is what we're going to do right now. And you can't CISO change how the organization operates fast enough to deal with this threat in a meaningful way.
Okay, I'm glad you said fast enough because we can.
Yeah.
We can hold people accountable.
Yeah.
Like not just board members, not just senior executives, line managers of, hey, your employees.
Because we're going to talk about that in a minute. Like, can you really fast enough?
Fast enough? No.
Right. Not at the speed of how this happens. I mean, look, like we got, Robinhood had a ATO breach, came out of the service desk, year and a half ago.
Yep.
Like they're a smaller fintech institution. And I think they would probably say that it was their internal controls that constrained the access from moving further than it did. And like you read the reports and whatnot, like they had some disclosure of client information, but that could have been a lot worse because someone did get the same level of foothold. They just didn't deploy ransomware.
Yeah.
So was it just an attack method that saved them, or was it internal control? And they actually, had, like if you read about what happened, like did they have controls over their service desk employees that wouldn't allow them to have, root privilege to do whatever they wanted, that would allow a stolen credential to be as powerful as it was? I don't know. Like I can only read what's in the open source, but it's a different paradigm. But people get hit with this all the time. Why do some people survive? Why did MGM have such a prolific impact?
That's a great point. Obviously, this is one of the largest vectors, and a key priority for any CISO, CSO, CTO in any organization of like, how are we going to prevent, and also how are we going to respond to crypto lockers?
Right.
I mean, we went through these exercises in a previous job together. It's a massive concern.
Yeah.
But like, what are you spending on IR retainer versus what you're spending on employee user training?
Right.
And also 25 years later, why does employee user training still suck? Right.
Yeah.
Why is security awareness training horrible and boring?
Well, the sliver I hope that I want to insert into this particular point, because I think it's really telling, especially as I'm moving into new roles and things like that. This is an area of focus. You walk in day one, reevaluate your program. I hope there's a deep dive into service desk operations.
Yeah. Because
as you said, and it's not the weakest link because those people are dumb. It's the weakest link because they're the front line of the organization. Like the concepts that we worked in government were very much about spear fishing activity, whale fishing activity. Yep. It's not about that anymore. It's about getting a foothold, not the foothold.
Yeah. So at the White House, I had a team of people that were authorized to approve these types of things. I mean, obviously, we had new hires starting every week, and service desk would hand out. But there was a secure process way of doing all of that. Mm-hmm. And the escalation point was to go to security operations. And we had people on my team that were responsible for doing those things. For example, Nadeem, where I pushed all of my work down onto.
Sorry, bro.
Yeah. Multiple times. We had a process for that. And when we were at Bridgewater, McUltra, right? If we were doing a phone update or whatever, if he wasn't comfortable with the answer that he was getting, he was picking up the phone and calling me or calling you and saying, like, if security is not approving this, I'm not engaging on this. Yeah. Right.
You're speaking to another point that's, I think, critically important. I think there's the controls around service desk operations, education around like what their roles, responsibilities are, constraining access as much as possible, observables about what they're doing, why, good management on top of that. And you can no longer get away with the cheapest service desk vendor.
Oh, absolutely not.
Or the cheapest service desk people. You got to hire thinkers that are security aware. But you're also talking about the other side of the equation in the culture of like the people themselves. And when there's an interaction model between the service desk person that's potentially being phished, being assertive enough, confident enough to like, I'm concerned, see something, say something culture where they would know who to call and wouldn't be unafraid to do it, even if it disrupted, the business day or the business action. And you're absolutely right. That's absolutely a very there's a presence to the security program. I've used I used a chart recently of I think it's Rafiq. I can't remember his last name, but he's got the CISO mind map, right? Like this is what the job is, and it's a wonderful way to express like this is why you need a big team. This is all the shit we got to do, and this is just another example. I got to get all in the middle of the end user support manager's business because he's the guy that runs the service desk, and I got to ask him hard questions like, okay. Like how threat aware is your team and what specialized awareness training do they need and how do you measure that?
Oh, I mean, take it back a step. What is the business flow? Like just going in, sitting down, hey, help desk manager, what is the business flow? Like how does someone, and then, like someone in finance, right? If CFO needs something, like, is that the same process? And just like looking at it and understanding like, hey, their job is customer service, 100%. Right. And that's their job. They're going to go, bend over backwards to help them out.
This person what they need so they can do their job fast. Yeah,
so totally. Are they empowered? Are they entitled to do that? Are they doing it in a smart way? And do they have a security partnership? When there's an escalation,
right.
CEO calls and, he's in Boulder over the weekend and, needs a new device.
Yeah.
Like how are you going to manage that process?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's not going to happen until it does happen. And then we're running around scrambling, trying to do this.
Business email compromise just for the account versus the actual asset. That's really what it is.
And then from the accountability perspective, when all of those things fail, and like, this is not a woe is me, I'm a security professional, but where does that always come back down to? Mm-hmm. It comes down to us, right? Mm-hmm. We're the catch-all for it. We're like, oh, well, why weren't you good in security? Like,
was that? Give me the bruh.
Bruh. But so we work with them to make sure we understand it. But as with everything else, we look at the SIS 20, right?
Right.
User awareness is one of those things.
I got to do a training thing. That's it.
Oh, it's low hanging fruit. Oh, that's easy. Oh, like we don't have budget for that.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like all those things are important.
Yeah.
And any one of us can go spend weeks, months, years on any one of the aspects of the SIS 20.
Yeah.
Right. But where do we spend the majority of our time?
Yeah.
Like endpoint network, right? It's not user training.
It's
not third party management. It's not, it's not supply chain. Right. But we constantly see those low level things coming up over and over and over again.
Crazy.
You trust your vendor, you trust your supplier, you trust your employees, but they're the ones that are able to screw you the hardest.
That's right. That's exactly right. And I think, if there's anything that I keep rehearsing in my mind about this is that you use that as an influencer in your weapon system of management. Like this is the thing that's probably going to happen. It unpacks based on this kill chain. This kill chain to stop requires these capabilities. These are the capabilities that we're going to MFR test. We're going to make sure they work. Yeah. And we're going to start with the vetting of the employee in terms of service desk people. And I'm going to be all up in that guy's knickers trying to help him sort out how he manages this process to make. I think the punchline I'm getting to is that there's a way to you can't say ransom proof, but you can ransom harden.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you make it an effort and you really do it. And what I fear is that most organizations, especially that are as well funded as those that were impacted by this thing, again, are so still peanut butter spreading their investment across all the spectrum of things that they think are important, and they aren't focused on being threat aware and threat centric and how they and that's the number one threat. They knew it. No doubt that reconnaissance phase was real, and they knew ransom was somebody's going to break in and digitally transfer money, or they were going to ransom them, which is frankly the same thing now. Because you give them the money to unlock your system versus stealing the money.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I hate that it's back to your other interest. Let's move on to that. 20 years in the game and the same old shit. Are you getting bored with this job? You bored with this stuff yet?
No, not bored. Frustrated by the fact that it could be boring, right?
Yeah.
If I spent the last 20 years, working in GRC, writing the same policies over and over again, sure, I'd probably be bored.
Yeah.
From that perspective, I've seen very little change in the industry.
Yeah.
A lot of organizations do security addendums with their vendors now. Great.
Great. Show me your IR plan that ChatGPT wrote.
Exactly. And
that you've never rehearsed.
What's your incident response plan? Oh, well, we have a retainer with, XYZ Corp.
Right. Cascading risk.
Yeah. But when we look at it, take it back to the very basic things. Like dumpster diving or some kid calling from his mom's basement and, Budapest is the same thing.
The Grand Hotel.
Yeah. So
sorry, I'm gonna mess with you today. It's one of those
totally
days.
Fine. Yeah.
Well, all right, let's zoom up a level. Okay, so we beat that horse to death. It's tragic. I'd love to. We'll continue to monitor this story to see what comes out of it.
Yeah.
But
this story is a continuing story
of
that in 10 years we'll still be talking about.
Talk about this shit again. Yeah. More of the tactical, the casinos and the ransomware event. And one paid the ransom and got back to business. One didn't, paid the hard price. Set their business back. Maybe they're so profitable they don't care. Maybe so. But man, that's a big hit.
Everything's a risk decision.
Totally right. Business accepted the risk.
Exactly.
Let the service desk have overprivilege and be able to allow malware to enter the environment unconstrained. That's crazy.
Technically, everything was more secure.
Well, that's all right. So let's get to that. Are we going to watch the CBS thing at all? Did you bring that up?
I did not.
Oh, okay. Well, we can. It's like 20 minutes long, right? And it was CISA.
Yeah, so Jen Easley giving a CISA, they've created a public service announcement.
Secure
PSA
Our World?
Secure Our World. And so
21 years in the making. And what was I haven't watched all of it. What was your takeaway in your view of it?
Like you and I have talked about this before, right? I just see this as another area where we aren't preparing the next generation.
Yeah.
Like when we went to school, we had to learn cursive, right? I don't know how much cursive writing you're doing these days.
Not much.
But I'm probably.
I'm not doing any writing.
0.
ChatGPT does it all now.
Yeah. But my kid, in style of cursive. I've got adult children that are like, how come school doesn't teach you anything about cybersecurity or finance or these actual things I need to know when I go into the real world?
Ooh, this is a heavy topic, right?
Dad, what password manager should I use?
Your kids have asked you that?
Yeah.
Wow, that's good. Like you're already on the good path.
And it's only because I don't want them asking you. So, but it's the how are we preparing people? It's the same thing. Like I talk to my dad. I call them. I spend the 5 minutes. Like, hey, update your phones, right? It's a reminder. Yeah. We think about it all the time because it's what we do for a living.
Yeah.
But everyone else that's out there, where are they getting the resources?
Yeah.
How many people have asked you, like, how can I secure my Wi-Fi? Like, is it safe to use a Nest thermostat?
Yeah.
I mean, we get asked these questions all the time.
Yeah.
And, there's no real good resources out there. I know, CertCC had some stuff years ago.
Yeah.
Carnegie, but there's like no one's pounding that, right?
Yeah.
No one's saying it. And every credit card company tells you that they have active monitoring on your credit alert.
Yeah.
Like, well, that's fine.
Yeah.
What about my house? Like, who's doing that?
Yeah.
Like,
I'll say, like, you're dancing around a very, very interesting, sophisticated, and politically challenging point. We are, with the introduction of like Apple technology and the ease of access that it brings, like, and the effort that goes into that end user experience to make it simple, people are not smart enough, and I mean that, like, they're ignorant to what it means to embrace this technology. Comes with it a security responsibility of securing it, and we don't make that easy enough. The integration of Apple technology into your home router technology, like the concepts of network defense, the concepts of endpoint defense, concepts of monitoring and surveillance. These are not ingrained. Like, turn my phone on, I make phone calls, send text messages. And now we've got an entire generation that's hooked on it, and they live with it. And CISA's answer to that, and what they're advertising, is that, grandma needs to be taught to change her password.
Yeah.
Like, that's not sufficient.
Well, I mean, she does.
Well, she does, but that's not sufficient.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, but that's the problem. And so we've got either an educational problem in that we have to teach every human being that touches technology to be an enterprise technologist so they can manage the enterprise that has become their home. I mean, I've got a home network and it's complicated, and I still don't know how to make NAT work on one of the switches that I have, and it's quite frustrating. And I don't have, much like a small business, I don't have the money to bring in a network security team to come lock down my home network, and no one's going to pay for that.
Yeah.
So it's out of reach, like the CISO role in a small to medium sized business, to do the right thing. And the government's answer, in a world where the states, not the US states, but like governments, are investing exceptionally heavily in building automation that will zap you as soon as you plug in the unpatched asset to the environment. It's automatically reverse engineering the rainbow tables so it will guess your passwords. And as breaches happen, the automation ecosystems that drive all that, you change your password. Like, that's it. Like, there's an entire automation ecosystem that both hackers and states are using against us every day. Like, no, the government's got to do more.
Yeah. There has to be programs for this. So,
Right.
Like, we used to talk about this all the time. When I was at Symantec, I had a managed security provider arm of the business. And so we'd always talk about, like, hey, there's, your major risk. The Sally Mae corporate versus Grandma Sally, right? Like, who's helping Grandma Sally? I left there in 2010, 13 years ago, right? It's the same question that's happening. Who's responsible for this?
Right.
Social Security Administration sends out, like, oh, hey, there's, this fraud thing that's going on right now. Banks, USAA, get a notification, be like, hey, here's this new fraud thing that's going around. Like, who's responsible for that?
Yeah.
The AARP, right?
Yeah.
Isn't DHS? Somewhere in between. Who's
this is the fringe area you're talking about. The accountability is by CISA, by the government now, is driving accountability back to the individual who is ill prepared and ill equipped to defend against the very thing that the economic progress has created.
Yeah. But is it an awareness program by creating a video, or are they actually accountable?
Well, they're accountable because when your stuff's popped, you lose the money.
Yeah. Right.
And then and not only that, you're compromised now because of this interwoven social media and things like grandma uses her passwords for her DMV account where she works on, part-time, for her eBay account. And then and for her Gmail. And so all of a sudden her entire identity gets compromised, and automation grabs that password and attempts to brute force into other government systems. And now they're in. Like, that's what credential stuffing is. That's how it's happening. And like, how is change your password going to stop?
I'm sure the DMVs have much better security than that, Chris.
I don't know why I use that example, but it's
well, no, but I mean, it's a good point. Like, my wife just renewed her driver's license last week, and so it's the True ID, right?
Yeah.
And she just logged into her account. She's like, I don't know what it is.
You think those,
yeah. Stored password in Apple, like boom, 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 right in there. Like, oh, is all this information correct? Yep. Okay, we'll send you a new ID.
So your accountability point is like, this is back where the government needs to do more. Like, why are people being fried for this? Why isn't there potential war starting over this when we know that this is the fallout of states, much of this activity? Like, where do these advanced hacker capabilities come from? Advanced, like, it's just software now.
Advanced.
I know, right? It's like password stealers and brute logon automation. Like, is that really advanced? Where does it come from, though? There's an example. We'll talk about it in a minute. But like BlastPass is a great example. Like from a year and a half ago, Israeli groups are creating spyware to can be embedded on iPhones so they can surveil activity and then get caught. Oops, like monitoring human rights activists and stuff that, frankly, is kind of interesting. That's the thing that we're using spyware for because it's politically damaging, unfortunately. And that's the stuff that falls out into the public sphere that grandma's phone gets popped with. Like, so who's accountable? Who's accountable for that?
Yeah.
We have a technical ecosystem that's impossible to manage. We're giving it to people that don't know how to operate and secure it. And we're allowing governments to flourish weapon systems around taking advantage of it. And grandma change your passwords the right answer?
Yeah. Well, it's not even like grandma use a different password for everything. And
You got a guest.
yeah.
Welcome to the barn. Sting me in the forehead. He's gonna get mad at me in a minute. Maybe that's a NSA drone coming down here to shut us down.
Yeah. This will be our last podcast.
This is it. It's over.
Yeah. I guess we're not going to get Jen on.
Stung in the head
Yeah.
and dead.
Yeah. What happened?
Drink
to
up while
them?
you can,
Yeah.
then.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know, man. I'm mad about it. All right, you ready for philosophical moment? I've been waiting for this actually for the show. I got to figure out how I'm going to tell the story, but I want to step back and look at kind of the history of the internet as an economic engine, and the fact that it was the TCP/IP protocol being the birth of that, being a thing that was written on the back of a napkin, and I pin most of the security problems on the fact that we powered the internet with a poor protocol, and that set a precedent for how we can release technology in an unsafe way to the masses, and have created this built on sand and shitty concrete, the entire technical ecosystem that drives everything about our world today. And the only way to fix that is how old does the bridge have to be before you tear it down and build a new one?
Doesn't have to fall down.
Well, you build another one next to it, right? That's like go to Vermont. When I drive up there, I drive across the new bridge and watch them take apart the other one. But that's the economic investment that's going to be required.
Yeah, that's what they did with the old Tappan Zee Bridge and the new Tappan Zee Bridge.
Yeah. They named that bridge something else before.
No,
something
it'll always
happened,
be the Tappan Zee Bridge to all of us.
That's not the Mario Cuomo bridge now. Tappan Zee 2.
Zee Bridge 2. Part 2. Bigger, badder, better.
Pierce Nipples Bridge or whatever.
No.
Is that real? I don't know.
TZV2. Yeah.
So that's the TED Talk. The TED Talk is the cost of doing what we're doing now and the Band-Aids that we're strapping on as security and the growth curve have already outrun each other. And the only way we can fix this is we've got to break ground on the entirely new technical ecosystem. We tried this with Internet 2, whatever the hell that was.
Yeah.
IPv6 flopped around for a long time. That only allowed us to be able to exponentially add to the problem versus actually solving many of the inherent problems that are there. And now we've inherited all these poor SDL. These all happen because exploits, right? Poor SDLC. Software's cheap because we allow it to be cheap.
Why? I'm about to go down a diatribe with IPv6. Nope, not going to bite.
No, come on. I'm fishing it. I'm fishing it.
What was that? Was that Novell's doing?
Look, we're old. We just showed a 42-year-old movie that we both knew, 41-year-old movie that we both knew. So we should know the answer to that. But I think I've forgotten who the source was of that.
Yeah,
you might be right.
I don't know. I can tell you,
it wasn't Banyan Vines.
It wasn't Banyan Vines, and GG Snads. I'll never forget that. That was 30 years ago. So.
All right, let's let's take a break. I got a lot of feedback on the last show. We kind of put that little musical section in.
Yeah.
So those that aren't paying attention, this Oliver Anthony thing is kind of neat to watch, and so I kind of want to intro this. One, he writes a pretty interestingly political song. It ends up in the Republican debate. He has to put a message out that says, no assholes, I'm apolitical. I actually think all of Washington is the problem. Now he's political because he's, poking fun at the fact that people abuse social systems and the fudge rounds in the north of Richmond. And he's poking fun at politicians and the mines and I wish the what's the line? I wish our politicians would protect minors, but not some minors on an island.
Yep.
Making fun of the Epstein thing. So very impactful song, and it's wild if you read like Reddit and like where whatever political camp you're in, like how some people destroy him, some people love him, and I just think he's a really thoughtful artist with a great voice, and I'm not trying to look at the politics. And so what I wanted to do is try to depoliticize that for a second and play a song, and then we'll come back and I'll tell you like what I've seen that's happening that's really cool as an outcropping of the gravity that he's created.
One for my old dogs and the good Lord, they'd have me strung up in the psych ward, 'cause every day living in this new world is one too many days to me. Son, we're on the brink of the next world war, and I don't think nobody's praying no more, and I ain't saying I know it for sure. I'm just down on my knees begging the Lord to take me home. I wanna go home. I don't know which road to go. It's been so long. I just know I didn't used to wake up feeling this way, cussing myself every damn day. There's always some kind of bill to pay. People just doing what the rich man say. I wanna go home. Now 4 generations farming the ground. Grandson sells it to a man out of town. And 2 weeks later, the trees go down. Only got concrete growing around. I wanna go home. I wanna go home. I don't know which road to go. It's been so long. I just know I didn't used to wake up feeling this way, cussing myself every damn day. People have really gone and lost their way. They all just do what the TV say. I wanna go home. If it weren't for my old dogs and the good Lord, they'd have me strung up in the psych ward.
All right, so that was so what's cool about what's going on with the Oliver Anthony movement, which I think is really cool, is like come on.
We got this guy.
Not sure. You're gonna save all the crops. Like that's religion. That's such religion. We'll have to do the Idiocracy burn down for those that have. It's amazing. I use quotes and lines from it, and how many people I've met have never seen the movie.
It's insane.
I can't, like that's. It's literally you're living it. You know, like you watched it unfold for the last 10 years since that movie came out.
We used to come home from the bar and watch it.
No shit, no doubt. I think I have like 2 DVD copies. I think I've got an Amazon purchase on it as well. What I think is really cool about the Oliver Anthony thing is that you see musicians flourishing that normally wouldn't have a voice because of how big music is, you know, oversaw and managed and promoted. And like, if I step back as a music guy, like before I got into cybersecurity, I worked in a record store. I was literally Jack Black in High Fidelity, like Psycho Electric Monkey. You haven't seen that. It's awesome. And so my uncle was a rock and roll drummer in Nashville, and so I grew up around music, and now I've kind of permeated that in our family. So I'm always chasing shows and cool stuff, and it's really cool to watch. Like, this guy is now both successful in his musical career, achieving an audience he's never heard before, and on top of that is able to like pick and choose and do battle with like Ticketmaster and stuff like that. What's really cool is that, think about the genres of music that were popular through our 40 years from Firefox forward.
Yeah.
Like we got to watch the rise of hip hop.
Hair bands,
like from metal,
Skid Row,
and all of that.
Nirvana,
through the grunge era,
Yeah.
through like the birth, rise, and fall of Metallica, and like the bands that we were into and stuff. What's happening now? Like hip hop, like where's the Dre? Where's the Snoop? Where's Eminem? I don't know. Like I try to keep up in like what do they call that? The trap. You know, like I've listened to some of that, and some of it's interesting, but you know, nothing has gravitas, or they end up dead.
SoundCloud and AI are the future.
Yeah, no, like not grabbing me. And then like for like the rock and blues genres, you get the occasional cool pop up band. Like I was really into this dude named Rain Wolf. Like I'll do a video for the next show. Reminder, get a Rain Wolf plug in here. Maybe we'll get a show. Amazing, like kind of dark, bluesy, Black Keysy kind of rock, and really intense, but never really had a following, never really took off. Like not even touring right now, I guess. But like that's the kind of stuff that I'm finding. Like, well, where's going to be the emblematic music of the future? And so this is it. This is the new like folk country, live from the heart, like coming from nothing with real passion behind it. And it's creating this voice for these country guys to come out of nowhere, and it's really freaking cool.
Yeah.
So it's like Sam Barber, Nolan. Can't even remember his name because I just found him. But like you got all these what's that fancy word they use for like movies? Indie. You got all these indie artists popping up and YouTubing their way into success, which is awesome. Finally, like they haven't found a way to squeeze the money out of that yet, and hope it flourishes.
So I guess indie is a big word if you come from Nashville. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know, man. Maybe I'm talking shit. I don't know what I'm talking about.
It's real funny because Mike and I, my son, watched the Defiant Ones again. It's on Hulu or whatever right now, but HBO special 3-part with Jimmy Iacone and Dr. Dre, and like how they found each other and everything, but like everything that they did and how they changed that industry completely. It's like amazing.
I hope this is that. I hope this like brings forward the hip hop artists that are underrepresented, the rock stars that are underrepresented, and like back to how we started the show today. Like Tyler Childers cost $600.
Yeah,
like it's crazy. Like Swiftie, what were you telling me?
Yeah, well, Taylor Swift. Went to see the show in New Jersey at the beginning of the summer.
I didn't know you were Swiftie.
And I took Annabelle for her birthday.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You would have went by yourself though.
That's cool. Well, yeah, because we did a picnic. We went to Katz's Deli and had some pastrami sandwiches and sat through a 5-hour concert. But I mean, it's amazing. Like when I was AB's age, I was going to see, Beastie Boys and, punk shows. And, Fish was just beginning to tour, right?
Jam band.
Jerry was dead.
Yeah.
And it's just like...
I saw Trey Anastasio last night. Oh, like, Jesus, he played for an hour and a half and played 4 songs.
Yeah. Exactly. But, like, all of that's changed, but nothing's changed, right? It's just crazy. It's crazy where the industry is right now. But watching the Defiant Ones, like Dre's in his basement in his studio, and he has 20-foot soundboard. I'm like, wow, like I got this 6-switch soundboard right here that I can barely run. Like, what the hell's he doing there? It's just crazy.
Well, the thing that I'm getting to for personal is that music is moving to like good music, or at least popular music, whatever's popularized, is moving to inaccessibility. And so there's nothing better that I have found as the music guy is going and finding that show where you're one of 50 people and it's good, intense, and raw. And I call it the birthday party. You know, like I'm here. These guys are playing for me, and I like that. I like that Rain Wolf guy because I've seen him 4 or 5 times, and it's always a small show, 50 people. He drags his drum. He's a little guy like me, smaller than me actually, which is a feat within itself. He drags his drum set into the crowd. He stands up on top of the drum set, and the guy that plays the drums is like a Muppet, long hair, like hair everywhere, and he stands up right there, and like the crowd holds his microphone while he plays and sings. I mean, it's just like you can't experience a show like that. So I'm hoping this kind of movement creates more club shows, more music scenes, more future artists, and that creates the next entrepreneur in music that finds the way. It's like I live for that. Like we work hard, protect the brand, do the security thing, and then like this is the art that I really dig, and I'm excited about what this potentially means. We haven't found a way to squeeze the bureaucratic economics out of this wholly yet.
Well, have you looked into anything about how AI is destroying music?
Fuck yeah, I have, dude. Yeah. That is.
Oh, did you not write an AI song?
I did. I like my first query into Chat GPT was write me a rap song about chickens. And it was amazing. Like all I didn't do was feed it into the Eminem generator so he could. But somebody already did that with cats.
Yeah,
which was I think Jon Stewart. No, not Jon Stewart. Oliver. John Oliver showed it, and it was quite good. Meow. Yeah, it's like the way it worked out. Yeah, it may be the end of it, or maybe it will. But my answer to you to that would be, as this NSA guy tells me to shut up. Like that's actually from Billboard, trying to shut me down. Where was I going with that before the bee tried to sting me in the eyeball? Shit. What was just saying?
I have no idea. I wanted that bee to sting you like so bad, just to see what the reaction was going to be like on camera. Like, can we slow this down?
Will AI kill music? What was our AI talk about? And the rejectionist movement.
Yep.
That will be another factor. It kills art. And if all art is unattributable to no one, is it art? And that will be like a really interesting physical. It's pretty. It's interesting, but I really don't understand it, and I don't have anyone to talk to understand why. Like what's great about Oliver Anthony is he makes this song. It's kind of interestingly politically striking, and he'll tell you why he wrote it.
I thought you were going to talk about our awesome artwork.
Yeah, right. Well, what created that?
A 17-year-old girl.
A human,
yeah,
right? Who we can give credit to and appreciate, right? Not some AI monolith that we have no attribution for.
I guess we're gonna have to hire AB to be our social media manager when we blow up.
That's like we're in the process of blowing up. We've already got like Andrew over here helping us out with video and all that stuff. So
we have as much staff as we have.
We probably would blow up faster if we actually hired her.
Probably.
We're doing this wrong.
Yeah.
Already.
I mean, she did that in like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
That would take me probably 4 to 5 years to do.
You have no idea how to do any of that. What are you talking about?
I would like literally be in Microsoft Paint, like changing block.
I would totally be doing pixel level change, like zooming in to 800%, and the old school way to create a fake driver's license. I don't know anything about that though.
No.
Oh my God! All right, so let's see. So we've been going for a while. We want to wrap up. We also wanted to, we got to do our sponsor stuff. So let's do that real quick. First off, big ups to our bros at Attack IQ. We talked about Carl and the CISA thing. Before we pull this up and zoom in on TechFellow, they've got some more roles. We'll talk about that in a second. But like we had a really good talk with Carl about the CISA thing. So like we got to do this again. Maybe we can get some more people that have experience at that level to come in and have this fight with us, because I think we're onto something. Like grandma changed your password is not going to fix this problem. And it didn't fix it for MGM when they had the money to keep this from happening. And again, maybe it's a risk decision. I don't care. But truth is that this is a bigger problem. Government's got to do something different. I don't think that it's a part of the strategy. And maybe we don't know about the other half, but I think there needs to be a nod to that. If there is other things going on, but I don't think there is. certainly don't see anything like we made fun of Einstein last time in that project, but there needs to be something that's more constructively capable. And so when we were talking to Carl, though, he used a funny line. I wish I had a screenshot. I'm going to start saving them. And want to give credit to Franklin Martinez. Big ups to Franklin for coining the term thirst traps. But it starts with a social, to me, it looks like a social engineering attack, comes over LinkedIn, but it can come over other social media feeds. It's usually an attractive, often Asian porcelain doll female who's got some big bloviating title of CEO of something, a nonsensical kind of weak resume. You go look at it and you'll see that what their history is, and they want to befriend you and enter the conversation. So we call that the thirst traps. What's going on? We made fun of LinkedIn a couple weeks ago. Like, what are they doing to clean that noise up? Driving down the road, I'm listening to an NPR article going up to Vermont about, and we can pull up the article here. What's behind those things? Odds are, there it is. Like, I think I almost saw that this gal was like the profile pic. If not, it looks just like this, like probably AI generated as well, not a real person. That there's allegations that the state is compromised in Cambodia. They've created human trafficking organizations that spend all day, like, legitimately, beating people into creating profiles. They don't get fed or feed their family unless they are able to, like, social engineer someone. They claim to be that they're good crypto investors. Once they befriend you, they take your money, you get it transferred over cryptocurrency, and then you never see them again. And so the monetization of human trafficking and the use of crypto is a way to do it, like the seedy underbelly of crypto when Ethan was here. I had not connected those dots, in that I'm likely being trolled by a Cambodian human trafficker in these kinds of things. And this person got the same kind of thing and just chased it and actually went to Cambodia and found and, like, almost got arrested. It's a really fascinating story.
Yeah. And the key part is it's the casual, like, initial connection. Like, oh, hey, remember me? You're like, oh, no, wrong number. And then they immediately move into developing a relationship.
Yeah. Well-trained, right?
Yeah.
Well-trained and
and
social.
Like, making sure you're getting that connection, luring the person in, and, like, building into that facade.
Yeah. Now, this is a perfect example as well of, like, we know this is happening. Where's the human rights action on this? You're like, how do you defend grandma against that? Like you're going to put that on the link on accountability. You're going to put this on LinkedIn for allowing it to happen. I have no way to know who it is. Put it on grandma. And it's really the irony. I always look when I get these to see who they have mutual connections already with.
Yeah.
They have a bunch, like, dummies, like, in the security industry are like, oh, she's hot, let me connect with her. Or, like, mind blowing to me.
That's how I clean up my LinkedIn network. I see whoever's connected to them and then remove them.
Right. But so one, like, bring awareness about, like, we kind of cavalierly look at these phishing things and don't think much about it. And the reality is there's an enormous human toll that's driving these things. And yet again, another example of a wrong in the world that no one's doing anything about, and we're sitting over here laughing about it. And not only that, it's likely state-driven, likely, I don't know, but it's evidence there that this was chasing Cambodia and they're not doing anything about it.
Yeah, well-financed.
And no one's doing about it there within their own state. So big ups to Franklin and our partners, Attack IQ, coining thirst traps, calling this out and, like, creating a talk about it, helping us create a talk about it in your awareness. Also wanted to talk about our friends Jeff at Tech Fellow, Jeff and Cam. They are still on the prowl for good talent. They've had a couple of roles that we helped advertise on the show. I'd like to think we helped fill one of those roles through that. So this thing is actually working for our listeners that are paying attention. This is a pretty interesting set of roles. They need a hardcore network security engineer. Zero Trust is not fully trusted. You need network surveillance, telemetry, monitoring, segmentation, all those things. It's got a healthy wage. You can actually be in New York or Singapore, so you might get some travel to a pretty cool place. And then as well, this is actually really cool. This is a neat role to see because we just talked about the importance of security awareness, but they're actually hiring an awareness engineer, like being forward in the organization. And it's not just running know before planning, right? I'm sure that there's a level of sophistication. If you look at the requirements, there's expert guidance, there's cross-functional cybersecurity. This isn't run your annual spear phishing test and fill out your regulatory content for awareness training. It's a pretty cool gig.
I wonder what the average for phishing testing is. Also, I think most out of the box phishing testing sucks, but
yeah, like how hard do you want to work it? That's been my answer. Like I guarantee I can get you 99%.
Oh yeah,
with a little bit of time.
Absolutely.
Everyone will eventually fail. So commodity pedestrian,
we did this,
thirst traps.
Thirst traps. Free Amazon gift cards.
I think it's dumb. I really I don't think security awareness training is dumb. I think spear phishing tests are dumb. I just it's true. People are going to fail. The level, it all depends on how much energy and effort someone's going to put into crafting the type of attack. Like, are they going to troll your social media? Are they going to learn about you and your patterns and habits and then use that as a way to go after you?
Well, back to your dead horse, which, by the way, no animals were harmed in making of this podcast.
Yeah.
Who's accountable?
Who's accountable?
Who's accountable, right? So someone fails a test, they fail 3 tests in a row, and they're invaluable to the organization. Like, what's the point of doing phishing tests?
Yeah, right, right.
Like,
you're capturing a metric that's only a liability at that point.
We're not going to test our senior executives or our board members because it would be embarrassing if one of them failed.
Yeah,
right. But then why are you testing, 22-year-old college graduate new hires?
Right. Right. Who are like hungry, because
they never grew up with any of the security stuff.
Back to the point.
They grew up with an iPad in their hand.
Right.
Right. So this is what they've been doing their whole life.
Yeah.
So now I have to go teach them security.
Right. Right.
But I can't teach old people security.
This is back to, I'm a partner on a security awareness startup, so I'm going to drag them onto the show, talk to us as well. I think there's a bigger problem here. We'll tee this up as there's the accountability part. What are you going to do with this training? And what are you going to do with this test? But it's really a training gap. And it's the thing that, people don't know. People don't understand why. Grandma doesn't understand why this is scary. Doesn't understand the things to look out for. And not only that, there's a way humans consume information. Yeah, I don't want to, got to be careful with the story here. We didn't talk about iOS. Got to get to that. Do it next time. Or do you want to do? Let's just do it. We'll get into that second. Cut.
Don't cut. I like it.
Yeah,
it's gritty.
We'll just keep rolling. No.
True grit.
Back to the point here, though. That this is you got to find a way to teach people in a way they will consume it. The hour I was looking for, the old DOD for those old school like us that remember the blank screen and you got to click the thing and wait. And we still do. This is another stupid thing we still do.
Yeah.
Here's your PowerPoint with the policies that are stuck on screen for 10 seconds, and then you hit the button, and then you hit the button, and then you wait 10 seconds, and you hit the button. You're like, do you think that's effective learning? Is anybody actually taking away anything useful? So it's got to be interactive. It's got to be useful. It's got to be interesting. It's got to be punchy. It's got to be TikTok.
Yeah.
You got to grab it, hit it home, and go. And that's and it's got to have a why behind it, and it's got to be so. Marketing has a role in training. And that's what's missing. The Know Before and Mitnick and the brand was cool, but the product's the same. Not to judge, most of the products are the same. I told you earlier before we started recording, I'm digging in Geo, but who's watching cartoons?
Yeah.
So there's got to be something that's adaptive to the learning curve of people, and screw the testing. Focus on will people pay attention to your stuff?
Absolutely, and your TikTok point, showing someone 12 90-second segments of an aha moment is going to grab people's attention, and they're going to remember that thing.
Yeah.
Sitting through 58 minutes and then taking a review test of like very ambiguous questions that may or may not have a right answer or a more right answer.
Yeah.
Like is asinine.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. So Jeff, if you're listening, we're hopefully our listeners are gonna talk here. And if your client wants to talk to some old salts about like what this role should be, or a mentor and develop this person, we're here for you on that as well. I think that would be actually kind of cool. I'm passionate about this, just in that I think awareness training's an area that like most people punt to the side as just another thing to do and check the box. And it's like one of the key areas that I think the CISO can influence the culture the most.
Absolutely.
And like engineering, you get the engineering manager in there, you're the engineering manager, but like you're not talking to the people. You're talking to the engineering manager and how tech gets created. This is the thing that touches every person in the firm.
I just thought about another thing. When we were in the Marine Corps, or when we were at Northrop Grumman, like we would do like COAs, course of action, like options, like 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And what you did was you clearly identified like, hey, here's the risk. This is how risky it is, right? We're not just like plotting a red, amber, green of like, oh, this is highly unlikely, but existential risk. Like you're going in saying like, hey, here's the thing. This is the thing we're worried about. And here's 3 ways we can go solve it. Like 1, where there's going to be some impact on the users, most likely.
Yeah.
And so like we need, senior support come in, like we're going to go do this thing. It's going to hurt, but in the end we'll be better off.
Yeah.
And then like, some wishy-washy, like, oh, well, we'll go patch this thing and add it to the next, annual audit. And then, usually something in the middle of like, hey, we're going to go, start walking around to people's desks, telling them this and that.
Yeah.
Taking computers away from them if they keep screwing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if people aren't seeing that, people don't understand. It's just like, it's more lip service of like, oh, okay, security's scary. Yeah. Like I know that.
Yeah.
Like, no, like this is why we're doing this. And spend 15 minutes talking about it, not, an hour watching some
Video once a year.
Video.
Yeah, like if you weave it into the culture, I used a line the other day, like I believe that like security cultures change one interaction at a time.
Yeah.
And like, and if you're only having one real interaction a year, then like culture's going to change at that pace. Where like break it up, dribble it out, make it interesting, make it periodic, make it real, make it human. Like these are all those things.
The role, the role description for what Gary and I did when he and I both started, was one of those is what Glenn called be the guy. Right?
Yeah.
And like, that was our job.
Yeah.
And so he did that for your side of the house. I did it for the investment side of the house. And it was that thing of like, hey, if I only know one person to pick up the phone and call, to yell at or ask a question, right? Like that is a win.
Yeah.
And every single one of those, and then meeting with those managers.
Somebody called.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
the phone's not your Maytag, man. You're like, this is good. We need to brand this.
They really care.
The Maytag security guy, like big, don't be that guy.
Yeah, I want you standing next to it and me sitting on the washing machine.
It dawned on me when we were talking about this. We started talking about the NSO group stuff and the Pegasus thing, but we didn't close the loop on
allegedly
the iOS BlastPass thing that came out. So I don't know if we're going to top up for that or not. It's probably worth it. Let me give you my perspective on it. Like this, we talked about the irresponsibility in the government. The government probably has plenty. Yeah, come on. Feed me, Seymour. If you haven't watched Little Shop of Horrors in a long time, another movie probably from the 80s, definitely worthwhile. I kind of got into my 80s musicals recently.
What happened to Rick Moranis?
He's still around, isn't he? I thought I don't know. I did the Little Shop of Horrors and I did Rocky Horror.
Oh, movies or
the movies,
live shows? Okay.
No, I didn't I was trying to explain to the kids like how people would dress up in lingerie and dance around in the movie theaters and sing the songs.
Do they not still do that?
I think they actually do. I was like trying to you should go see that. It's like a cultural thing to go. It's pretty crazy.
Like, this generation's built for that.
Right.
You don't have to talk to anyone. Like You can probably be on your phone the whole time. You get to dress up.
Can record everyone, right? That's probably why people don't do it anymore. Is there's too much recording of it. So anyway, like the NSO group thing, yet again, another one of those, like the state irresponsibly, a state, Israel or whoever created these things, actually Israeli, but who was responsible for the leak and the exploit and the loss of them, appears to be connected, created some spyware for specific government purpose, is now spilled out into crime industry. And now there's another massive vulnerability that has like quickly come to exploitation, known as BlastPass. And the thing that was interesting to me, and a couple of folks I've talked to about it, is that organizations that have embraced BYOD centricity for how they enable, what that means is that you can't manage endpoint assets, which means that spyware, it used to be a risk that you were worried about, that spyware could be on an endpoint, and therefore keystroke logging, recording, whatever, like there it is. It's happening right now, and it came out, and it was already weaponized, and it was already being exploited. And the way you clean that up as an enterprise manager in a BYOD situation is you pull a report and you ask people to update. And if they don't, then you disenroll them. They update, and then they come back to the well and ask. And then as a political fight, like, do you really want me to unenroll high-power users? Do you really want me to unenroll, like, 20% of the firm? The service desk can't handle the re-enrollment loading of that. And so the time to live for, like, how quick that came out and the problem that's been festering for weeks, and people are still cleaning that up. And that's too long for a 0 day that has operational weaponization because it came from the government.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's mind-blowing.
So what is, love to hear from the anyone listening to this, how long does it take for your patch management cycle to work, right?
Right. Takes a month.
Yeah. A normal organization, Patch Tuesday, like you go, you test it, you roll it out to a couple different groups.
Yep.
See what breaks, see what sticks, right?
Yeah.
So how are you doing that for 0 days? How are you doing that for phones?
How do you do that?
Thing that
for BYOD?
people are on, BYOD.
There's often not. Like this is like being an invented process in a couple of places I've talked to, and the political wherewithal to unenroll people from BYOD is often not there because they've subtly backed themselves into remote. And this is a key way of how people do business. Unenroll, like then you hear the other side of the house, like what is the static that you get? Why do people say I'm not updating? I don't want to I can't. I kind of want to upgrade my phone. Then you say, well, we pay you to do that. Well, do you pay?
Unpack that for me. Why aren't you? Why can't you upgrade your phone?
I like my phone. I don't want to spend more money on a new phone. These things are really expensive.
Yeah.
You don't pay me enough to afford a new phone.
Well, get off your iPhone X.
No, like the personal decision. So setting the policy that requires people to be tech current comes at a cost. So how do you compensate for that? You pay them. Okay, we'll give you $100 a month. It covers your carrier bill. Keep it current. You do your personal things, but we're not giving you a whole. And so you go do that. Now you got a stick, but you still got the it's not enough, right?
Yeah, and then the alternate carrot is, we'll give you a phone. Well, I'm not going to carry 2 phones around.
Well, one, you just 10 times the cost of BYOD in terms of like giving you a corporately managed phone, because now I got to buy the entire service plan, phone, lifecycle management, and service responsibility.
Yeah, but as a devil advocate would say, now they have one phone. It can be personally enabled, but corporately owned and managed.
I don't.
It's a win-win.
No, dude. Like I don't want you spying on what I'm doing. Like now I'm carrying 2 phones. Absolutely not. Like see that. So this is a real problem, and the reason why I wanted to talk about it today.
So you can't trust your employer, and you can't trust the government. I mean, like.
Like people should be aware of their own privacy ramifications of using technology. Awareness. This is back to like education.
I'm talking about these state-developed hacker tools. Allegedly.
There's nothing you can do about that. And that's the whole, like, we're back into this government problem of like, who's in charge here and who's accountable? How did this happen? Like dead air, right?
Yeah.
It happened because we built a thing for a offensive thing that, like the Manhattan Project, spilled into the internet and becomes weaponized in weeks.
Let's start a Kickstarter and remake It's a Mad World, but cyber version for 2024.
That's a good Gary Jules song too.
Yeah.
Man, I dig that as well. Like all that dark stuff. So this will be the new vector. I'm putting the badge on the table, the dollar on the table. That like it's going to be BYOD spyware. That's going to be the thing that's going to grab credentials out of the service desk employee or out of the the person that's unassuming of that, and like that's going to be another thing that we're going to have to deal with. And it's either going to drive business to a really weird management model where we go and buy everybody phones, or we find a better way to keep folks on current assets, or people just going to have the political will to say you can't have BYOD if you're not current at a certain rev. And people are going to have to dig in on that. And CIOs and CTOs and CEOs are going to have to say, sorry, power user that's weirdly obtuse to deal with. You can't keep your old phone because you like it.
I'm calling for the return of my BlackBerry 9615.
Bring it.
Just give me my goddamn BlackBerry.
Bring it. Bring it. Bring it.
I just want to be able to send emails from a corporate device. That's it.
That's what most people, I don't know, like I do office-y things, but not a lot. Like it's a small screen anyway, like practical reality.
Yeah.
I want travel claims, I want email, but we're pogey managers, man. Like we're the wrong guys to be dictating such a policy.
Have you ever seen a person approve firewall rules at 5:45 on a Friday afternoon on their iPhone on a golf course?
I have.
Me too.
I've made $1 million decisions via email on a phone, and like back to the point of like, wow, this is a serious vector, it's a serious thing.
Yeah,
it's a tragedy. Like the reason why I hate it is that we push so hard for like hygiene and automation. Like that's the theme that we've been talking through today. Yet another example with the casinos and all of that. And here's yet another complexity in getting cheap and enabling technology with people who know what they're doing with it. And we don't have a way to manage that. And now there's a second order consequence that's super risky. And it's now showing itself over and over again with, this method. Don't think for a second now that like if, we're pointing at Jeff, we're talking about the Pegasus problem.
Yeah.
Like that's not the only one that's happening with. It's the only one that's been publicly disclosed. It's a matter of time for there's more spills and more eternal blues and like the equivalent kinds of problems.
it will continue to happen.
Right. So get your BYOD fleet under control. Like, let's go through the lineup today. What did we start with? We started with sound on the sound. Go. I don't know. Red Hot Chili Peppers. We miss you guys. What was the first topic? It was we started with the spider group. Ransomware has a kill chain. Defend yourself against that kill chain, right? And exercise the shit out of it. Make sure all your security controls work. A really interesting talk about music. Support your local artists. The thirst traps. Some cool security awareness jobs. A job that's out there, and like a whole way of thinking about security awareness. And get your BYOD fleet. Have a plan for how you're going to keep it current. Firefox. And Firefox. We know where the plane is. It's in Russia.
Yep. Again, gentle reminder as we're coming to the end here, like and subscribe. And so in the coming weeks, we're going to have a guest on soon. A little bit out of the pocket, but interesting conversation with someone that Chris and I used to work with. And then 5 weeks out, we have the United States Marine Corps birthday, where we're going to have a couple former jarheads come into town face to face and do a podcast and see how terrible that goes.
I'm sure they're going to love doing a podcast, Hammertown, on the Marine Corps birthday. And like, for those who don't know about the Marine Corps birthday, like it's more important.
Steeped in ritual.
It's both steeped in ritual, but also more important than your personal birthday because you get to have it with lots of brothers. And so the ritual and like having it with brothers is like really cool. So I'm sure that it will be either a really awesome podcast or a really terrible one. I'm not sure how much editing we'll be able to do.
Unintelligible conversation.
Right. Here's our 3-minute podcast. Woo! And that's it.
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
well, hey, great show today, Jay. Good to see you again. This is actually a lot of fun. I think we're finding our groove. Hey, Greg, I don't know if you like any metrics for us on how things have been going. Have you been tracking? It don't matter. Like, this is now for us. I hope people are digging it. Feedback's been still is largely positive. Share with your friends. Everybody I send this to is like, this is really cool. People that aren't in the industry, like, I don't really get it, but you guys are fun. People that are in the industry, like, you guys speak the truth. So we're going to keep doing it.
Yeah. A massive spider just crawled out of the wall behind you. So I'm just going to, like...
It's all right. It's part of the game, dude.
Yeah.
And on that note,
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
Thanks, everyone. Play you out on
Take us out.